This may sound crazy, but during a long power outage, a $5 item can sometimes be worth more than a $1,000 TV. And that is exactly the problem. When the power disappears, the value of everything begins to change. The expensive items around you can become useless in just a few hours. Meanwhile, the small, cheap items that most people walk past in the supermarket become the things that help you preserve food, keep water clean, stay connected, and avoid unexpected costs. Today, we are counting down 12 cheap items that can help you save hundreds, even thousands of dollars during a long power outage. And the item at the top of this list costs less than what many people spend on a cup of coffee each day. Let's begin. 12. Aluminum foil. If the power went out tomorrow for a week, most people would think about generators, solar battery packs, or expensive survival devices. But there is one item that costs only about $1 to $3, sitting quietly in the kitchen aisle, that can help you keep something other people are wasting minute by minute: heat, light, and fuel. That is aluminum foil. It sounds too simple. People see aluminum foil and think of leftovers, baked potatoes, or something in the oven. But during a long power outage, its value changes completely. At that point, the question is no longer how much food you have. The question is how much heat you can keep, how much fuel you can save, and how many remaining resources you can make use of. Here is the number worth noticing. An aluminum surface can reflect up to about 95% of thermal radiation. 95% on a normal day, that is just a scientific fact. But in a crisis, that can be the heat other people are letting escape. When fuel starts becoming precious, every bit of heat you can keep has real practical value. Imagine you are on the third day of a power outage. There is still food in the house, but the electric stove does not work. The microwave becomes a useless box. Every time you heat food with a portable gas stove or charcoal outside, it costs fuel. That is when aluminum foil starts to prove its value. You can wrap food to keep it hot longer. You can use it to cook directly over coals or fire. You can create a reflector behind a candle or oil lamp to increase the amount of light in the room without using more fuel. One small roll of aluminum foil can help you stretch the resources other people are quickly burning through. But the value of aluminum foil does not stop at keeping heat. It is one of the most versatile items you can buy for a few dollars. It can block wind around an outdoor cooking area. It can wrap food to keep insects away. It can be used to reflect a light signal in an emergency. It can help you get the most out of the light from a single candle in a dark room. It does not make you rich by creating money. It makes you rich by reducing waste. During a long power outage, the person with the biggest advantage is often not the one who owns the most. It is the one who knows how to make the best use of what they already have. If you can keep heat longer, use less fuel, and get more light from the same resource, you are extending your ability to survive without spending more money. The solution is very simple. Buy 2 to 3 rolls while the price is still only about $1 to $3 per roll. 1 roll for cooking and food storage. 1 roll for reflecting light and holding heat. 1 backup roll for unexpected situations. The total cost is under $10. But the practical value can last a very long time if you know how to use it properly. When the power goes out, a roll of aluminum foil that costs a few dollars can hold on to what other people are losing minute by minute: heat, light, and fuel. Do you already keep aluminum foil at home? Or do you still think it is only for wrapping leftovers? 11. Rope. There is a truth that sounds very hard to believe. Humans have used rope longer than we have known the wheel. Archaeologists have found evidence of rope dating back more than 30,000 years. 30,000 years. It existed before electricity, before engines, before paper money, before most of the technologies we depend on every day. And the strange thing is that after tens of thousands of years of development, very few items can completely replace a roll of rope when things start going wrong. No one shows off a new roll of rope to their neighbors. No one posts a picture of it on social media. No one buys it and feels like they just invested in the future. But after a night of strong wind, when a tarp gets pulled loose, a door refuses to stay shut, a storage bin needs to be secured, or a few things in the yard are at risk of blowing away, the thing people start looking for is rope. It is like the quiet friend in the group. Normally no one notices, but when there is real work to do, everyone asks, "Where is it?" A basic roll of nylon rope, braided rope, or paracord usually costs only about $3 to $10 at Walmart, dollar stores, or discount aisles. But what you are buying is not just a piece of rope. You are buying the ability to adapt. Rope can tie down a tarp, hang a light, dry wet clothes, secure a door, tie a water container, keep belongings from being carried off by wind, create a guideline in the dark, or help you set up a temporary shelter inside the house or on the porch. A few dollar item, but it opens up dozens of ways to solve problems. A well-prepared person sees dozens of problems they will not have to pay to fix later. And during a long power outage, keeping money can sometimes be just as important as earning more money. And here is the part many people do not think about. During a long power outage, things do not break in a movie-like way. They do not explode, burst into flames, or come with dramatic background music. They break in very ordinary ways. A plastic sheet will not hold. A corner of the porch roof comes loose. A trash bag gets dragged away by the wind. A door keeps banging against the frame all night. Those small things may not kill you right away, but they slowly drain your calm, your time, and the repair money after the crisis. Rope does not make everything perfect again, but it gives you a chance to keep a problem small before it turns into a big bill. A roll of rope is usually purchased during normal times, but its true value is only appreciated when everything starts falling apart. You do not need a warehouse full of equipment. Just keep a 50 to 100-foot roll in a dry, easy-to-reach place before the day comes, when you need it, and there is nowhere left to buy it. If possible, keep two types: a roll of nylon rope or paracord for heavier jobs, and a roll of lightweight braided rope for smaller tasks around the house. You do not need to become a sailor or a professional climber. Just knowing how to securely tie down a tarp, hang a light object, or secure a door already puts you ahead of many people. During normal times, rope is just a roll sitting forgotten in a corner. But when the power goes out, strong winds arrive, water starts leaking, belongings shift around, and everything needs to stay in place. That few dollar roll of rope can become the thing that helps you avoid hundreds of dollars in damage. Do you already have rope at home? Or do you only realize you have nothing to tie with when you suddenly need to secure something? 10. Duct tape. There is a very strange rule during a crisis. People often do not realize what they need most until it disappears. Before a storm, Walmart parking lots are packed. People rush in to buy familiar items, the things everyone thinks of first. But very few people run to the duct tape aisle. Until a few days later, when the house starts developing small but frustrating problems. That is when the crowd realizes that many problems do not begin with a major disaster. They begin with a small crack, a small gap, a loose corner of a tarp, a pipe that needs a temporary fix, or a door that keeps slamming against the frame all night. Each issue on its own does not sound serious, but during a prolonged power outage, they add up very quickly. A small problem in the morning can turn into an expensive one by evening. A roll of duct tape usually costs only about $3 to $8, but it can fight off dozens of problems at the same time. It keeps a tarp from being pulled away by the wind, seals gaps to retain heat, secures loose wires, temporarily patches cracked items, reinforces a weak plastic corner, or keeps things in place for a few more hours. Sometimes you do not need a perfect repair. You just need to keep the problem from getting worse until a real solution is available. The crowd often thinks value lies in the big item. In reality, damage usually begins at the smallest point. A loose corner of a tarp can let rainwater into the house. A small gap can pull warm air out all night long. An item that is not secured can be completely damaged after a few hours of strong wind. Many repair bills worth hundreds of dollars begin with a problem that could have been prevented for just a few cents. That is what makes duct tape different. It is not impressive, but it stops the quiet damage. Well-prepared people do not buy just one roll. They keep at least 2 or 3 rolls in different places around the house, in the car, and in an emergency kit. 1 roll for quick repairs, 1 roll for sealing and reinforcement, 1 backup roll for when everything happens at once. In a crisis, duct tape does not fix everything. It buys you more time before the damage becomes expensive. Do you have usable duct tape at home? Or do you only discover the last roll is gone on the exact day you need it most? 9. Candles. During a long power outage, the rich person is not the one with the brightest house. It is the one who can still keep a few hours of calm, a few hours of safety, and a few hours of control when the whole neighborhood is swallowed by darkness. There is a very strange moment in every long power outage. It is not when the power first goes out. The real moment begins when it gets completely dark. The familiar house suddenly changes shape. The living room has deeper dark corners. The hallway feels longer, and the wind outside the door sounds clearer. One small noise in the kitchen is enough to make the whole family go silent for a few seconds. At that moment, what people need is not just light. They need the feeling that everything is still under control. A small candle usually costs only about $1 to $5, but during a long power outage, its value is no longer in the amount of money you paid when you bought it. It is in the hours of calm it keeps for your family. A candle does not just provide light, it provides time. Small candles can burn for about 3 to 5 hours. Large pillar candles can burn 20, 40, even 60 hours depending on the type. When the stores are already out of stock, an unused candle is no longer a decoration. It becomes the thing other people wish they had bought earlier. But candles must come with discipline. Place them on a stable surface. Keep them away from curtains, paper, towels, blankets, and do not light them and go to sleep. An item that helps you stay calm must not become the cause of a new risk. Keep at least 10 to 20 tea light candles or a few long-burning pillar candles in your emergency box, stored with a lighter or matches in a dry, easy-to-find place. When the whole neighborhood is pitch black, a few dollar candle is no longer a decoration. It is a few hours of calm, a few hours of safety, and sometimes a few hours that decide whether you handle the crisis well or badly. If the power went out tonight, would your home have enough light to get through one long night? 8. Heavy-duty trash bags. In most long power outages, the first thing that makes life uncomfortable is not hunger or darkness. It is the thing that starts piling up day by day, more quietly and more dirty. Trash. A family of 4 can create more than 20 pounds of trash in just a few days, especially when everything shifts to packaged food, plastic bottles, paper towels, and disposable items. Normally, you tie the bag, take it outside, and forget about it. But when a storm floods the roads, trash collection is delayed. The power is out, the kitchen heats up, and trash no longer disappears. It stays inside your home. From there, a small problem starts to smell. That is why heavy-duty trash bags are not just for cleaning up. A box usually costs only about $5 to $10, but it can keep the whole house from falling into chaos. It holds household trash, keeps odors inside the bag, protects clothes, documents, and medication from water, covers items outside, lines an emergency toilet bucket, wraps wet belongings, or collects rainwater. The difference is in the words, heavy duty. Thin bags can tear at the exact moment you need them most. Contractor bags or heavy-duty bags handle wet items, sharp edges, cans, small branches, and the messy aftermath of a storm much better. In a crisis, a torn bag is not just annoying. It dirties the floor, spreads odor, attracts insects, and turns a small task into an urgent one. Well-prepared people often keep a few rolls in several places: in the kitchen, in the car, and in the emergency box. Some are for trash, some are for waterproofing, some are for temporary sanitation. When things last longer than expected, you will not have to use flimsy shopping bags to do the job of a real trash bag. On a normal day, trash bags are one of the easiest things to forget. But during a week-long power outage, they help keep your home cleaner, drier, less smelly, and easier to control. Do you have enough heavy-duty trash bags at home for a real week without power? 7. Manual can opener. There is a very frustrating paradox during a power outage. You can have an entire shelf full of food, but still stand there looking at it like a locked safe. Canned beans, canned soup, canned fish, canned meat, canned vegetables. Everything is still intact. Everything has calories. But if the only can opener in the house is electric, then when the power goes out, that entire shelf of food suddenly turns into a row of cold metal cans. A manual can opener usually costs only about $5 to $15. Not flashy. No screen. No charging needed. But on the third day of a power outage, it can become the key to calories. Imagine a very ordinary scene. The whole family has finished the fresh food in the refrigerator because they were afraid it would spoil. Dinner comes. You open the pantry and see a few cans of soup, a can of beans, a can of fish. On paper, you still have food. But then you pull out the drawer, search, and realize the manual can opener disappeared a long time ago. At that moment, the problem is no longer a lack of food. The problem is not being able to access the food. According to the Canned Food Alliance, more than 90% of American households use canned foods in everyday meals or storage. That means many families are quietly depending on one small tool to open the door to thousands of calories inside their own home. Well-prepared people do not just have one, they keep at least two. One in the kitchen, one in the emergency box. Because in a crisis, the smallest item often disappears exactly when you need it most. And here is the angle many people do not think about. If a neighbor has canned food but cannot open it, the person with a can opener does not just have food for themselves. They have a small service that someone else needs immediately. A manual can opener does not create more food. It simply turns the food you already have into something you can actually eat. If the power went out tonight, are you sure you could open every can in your house? 6. Bic lighter. There is a very strange contrast in modern life. We live among thousands of complex technologies. But when the power disappears, many things return to one of the oldest human needs: fire. Not an app, not a touchscreen, not a password. Fire. And sometimes, the distance between a cold house and a hot meal is only a lighter that costs about $2. A Bic lighter does not create food, does not create water, and does not create electricity, but it activates other things. It turns a gas stove into a cooking source. It turns candles into light. It turns firewood, charcoal, or a camping stove into heat. A small item that fits in the palm of your hand, but can unlock an entire chain of solutions when the normal system stops working. The number worth noticing is about 3,000. According to BIC, a standard lighter can produce up to about 3,000 lights before it runs out of fuel. 3,000. On a normal day, that number does not sound special, but in a week without power, each light can be a hot meal, a lit candle, a pot of water being boiled, or a heat source started at the right moment. This is the part that makes a lighter different. In a crisis, the person with fire does not just have heat. They have the ability to turn things that are sitting idle into things that can be used. A pile of firewood without fire is just wood. A candle without fire is just wax. A gas stove without fire is just a cold piece of metal. A lighter is what moves everything from usable to being used. And that is also why it has very high trade value. During a long power outage, items that solve a problem immediately are often sought after faster than items that look expensive. A small lighter can become the thing someone else needs to cook, stay warm, light a candle, or regain a sense of control. Well-prepared people usually do not buy just one. They keep one in the kitchen, one in the car, one in the emergency box, and a few still in the package for backup. Not because they are afraid, but because they understand that a $2 lighter can be useless for 364 days. But on the exact day it is needed, its value is no longer measured in spare change. If the power went out tonight, do you know exactly where your nearest lighter is? 5. LED flashlight. The most dangerous thing in a house without power is not always the darkness. It is the feeling that you still know your way around your own home. You think you remember everything. Where the table is, where the step is, how far the cabinet corner sticks out. But once the power goes out, a familiar floor can turn into a trap. A pair of slippers left in the wrong place, a charging cable on the floor, a stair step you cannot see clearly. Things that are normally harmless suddenly become the reason the whole night changes. Here is a very uncomfortable number. According to the CDC, about 3 million older adults in the United States go to the emergency room each year because of falls. And when the power goes out, that risk does not go down. It goes up, because visibility is worse, stress is higher, and people often move too quickly in the dark. A good LED flashlight usually costs only about $10 to $20. But on a power outage night, it is not just light. It is the right to check before you step. It is the ability to see water leaking on the floor, a small piece of glass near the door, the right medication on the shelf, or where that noise outside in the yard is really coming from. Imagine it is 2 a.m. The whole family is sleeping uneasily. Outside, there is a loud thud. No one knows whether it is a falling branch, a trash can being dragged by the wind, or something that needs to be handled right away. The person without a flashlight has to guess. The person with a flashlight gets to see. In a crisis, those are two different worlds. LED technology has also changed the value of this item. Many small models today can reach more than 300 lumens and run for dozens of hours on one set of batteries, depending on the type. That means you do not need a giant device. You need a few reliable ones, placed in the right spots, beside the bed, in the kitchen, in the car, and in the emergency box. An LED flashlight does not make the house completely safe, but it turns invisible hazards into things you can deal with. And during a power outage, the person who sees the problem early is often the one who avoids the biggest cost. If the power went out tonight, would you find a flashlight in a few seconds? Or would you have to feel around in the dark to find the very thing that helps you get out of the dark? 4. AA and AAA batteries. There is a kind of second power outage that many people do not notice. The first one is when the power grid shuts down. The second one is when the devices you are relying on start dying one by one. The flashlight is still on the table. The radio is still in the drawer. The small medical device is still intact. But you press the power button and nothing happens. Not because the device is broken, but because the smallest thing inside it ran out first. The batteries. A pack of AA or AAA batteries usually costs only about $5 to $15, but during a long power outage, it starts to look more like cash than a consumable item. The reason is very simple. Batteries are not the main item, but they keep the main items alive. A flashlight without batteries is just a plastic tube. A radio without batteries is just a silent box. A health monitor without batteries can become useless at the exact moment you need it most. This is the common mistake of the crowd. They buy the device, but forget to buy the energy for the device. Like buying a car and forgetting the gas. And when the crisis comes, they are not short on things. They are short on what makes those things work. In a crisis, one small battery does not create light, information, or safety. But it keeps the things that create light, information, and safety working. If the power is out for a week, the question is not how many devices your home has. The question is how many batteries you have to keep them alive, and for how long. 3. Emergency radio. There is a very frightening moment in a crisis. Not when the power goes out, but when people realize they do not know what is happening. They do not know whether the power will be out for another 2 hours or 2 days. They do not know where the storm is going. They do not know which areas are flooding. They do not know whether there is an evacuation warning. And when phones start losing signal, the internet becomes unstable, and the battery drops percentage by percentage. The silence suddenly becomes heavier than the darkness. An emergency radio usually costs about $20 to $40. It does not create water, does not create food, and does not fix the roof. But it does one extremely important thing. It helps you know what to do next. According to FEMA, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio is an important part of a family emergency kit because it helps receive weather alerts and official information when other communication channels are unstable. This is the point many people underestimate. In a crisis, rumors spread very quickly. One neighbor says this road is closed. Another says tap water is not safe. An old post on social media gets shared again as if it just happened. If you do not have a reliable source of information, you are not just lacking information. You may take the wrong action because of bad information. Many emergency radio models today also have a hand crank, a solar panel, a small light, and a phone charging port. But the greatest value is still information. Well-prepared people do not buy a radio because they are nostalgic. They buy it because they understand that when everything goes silent, an official voice can be worth far more than many expensive items. If the power is out for 3 days and your phone has no signal, where will you get your information? 2. Personal water filter. There is a discovery many people only understand when it is already too late. In a crisis, you usually do not run out of water first. You run out of clean water first. On the first day of a power outage, everything still feels manageable. There are still a few bottles of water in the house. The faucet may still run. You tell yourself it will probably be fine. But by the 3rd or 4th day, the last bottles of water start running low. Local news mentions a boil water advisory. The nearby supermarket shelves have been cleared of bottled water. At that point, the problem is no longer is there water somewhere. The problem is, do I dare drink it? There is a very big difference between water and safe water. A personal water filter or survival water filter straw usually costs about $20 to $40, but some popular models can filter thousands of gallons of water over their lifespan, depending on the brand and water conditions. That is the number that surprises many people, because it turns a small item sitting in a drawer into a life-saving option when everyone around them is scrambling to find another case of bottled water. A filter does not create water. It creates choice. When other people see a questionable water source, you see a water source that can be treated. When other people have to wait for stores to restock, you have another layer of backup in your hands. In a crisis, sometimes the richest person is not the one with the most bottles of water. It is the one who can still turn bad water into something usable. Of course, not all filters are the same. Choose one designed for camping, emergency use, or survival situations, with the ability to handle common bacteria, parasites, and sediment. Read the product limitations carefully, because many filters do not remove chemicals, salt water, or industrial contamination. This is not a magic wand. It is a layer of defense. Well-prepared people usually keep at least one filter at home and another in the car or emergency bag. Not to replace stored water, but to prepare for the day when stored water is no longer enough. When bottled water disappears from store shelves, the person without a filter starts depending on luck. The person with a filter still has choices. If the 5th day of a power outage arrives, where will you get your drinking water? 1. Backup power bank. There is an uncomfortable truth that many people only realize after the power is already gone. A phone does not run out of battery while you are watching videos. It runs out of battery when you start needing it the most. According to a Pew Research survey, more than 90% of adults in the United States own a smartphone. For many people, a phone is no longer just a communication device. It is a map, a flashlight, a contact list, a bank, a weather source, an emergency alert system, and sometimes the only way to reach loved ones. A phone that is at 100% battery in the morning can drop below 20% within a few hours if it is constantly searching for a signal during a power outage and unstable network conditions. That means the thing you depend on most during a crisis can also be the thing that disappears the fastest. And that is when a backup power bank costing about $15 to $30 becomes completely different from its price tag. Imagine a very ordinary situation. It is dark. The power has been out since the previous afternoon. You are trying to check weather updates, text your children, or call a family member. Everything is fine until a familiar message appears on the screen. Battery low, 5% remaining. That is the moment when many people start to feel uneasy, not because they are hungry, not because they are cold, but because they are about to lose connection. A power bank does not create new electricity. It only stores electricity in advance. That sounds simple, but that is exactly where its value comes from. In a crisis, well-prepared people do not try to create new resources. They protect the resources they already have. A 20,000 mAh power bank can fully charge a modern smartphone 3 to 5 times, depending on the device. For many families, that means several more days of communication, several more days of receiving weather alerts, and several more days of access to information while other people are staring at a black screen. If the power went out for 3 days starting tonight, what day would your phone still be working until? The most interesting thing about today's list is that none of these items are truly expensive. But during a long power outage, each one can help you hold on to something other people are losing. Time, safety, food, clean water, information, and money. That is the real meaning of getting richer in a crisis. Not earning more, but losing less. Because when everyone rushes to find what they need at the last minute, the people who prepared ahead of time often just have to open a drawer. They are not luckier, they simply acted earlier. Now I want to ask you, of the 12 items today, which one do you think would be the most valuable during a long power outage? Share it in the comments.